We are talking on properties, right? Yeah. I was explaining about properties, and I said, what is that property? Is a member of a class using which we expose the values that are associated with the class to the outside environment. Property is a member of the class using which we can expose the values that are associated with the class to the outside environment. We'll be exposing to the outside environment. And very importantly, these properties are three types. What are that? Read-only properties, write-only properties, read-write properties. So depending on your requirements, we define the property as a read-only or a write-only or a read-write. So purely depends on the requirement. Okay, the property can be a read-only property, that property can be a write-only property, or the property can be a read-write property. That's purely based on our requirement. How do you define a property? So let me show. I'm back into my OOPS project. Guys, there's an updated version of the notes. Nothing here. Say first in the initially, the introduction classes are given in a notepad format to you. The introduction classes are given in notepad format. I just put those things also in the Word document. So the 10 pages additionally added for that. That's all. The introduction notes. That's it. Okay, I added. I will upload this in the Google Classroom. You can download it. Only the 10 pages will be extra, the first 10 pages. I given you that notes already, but I given that in a text format to you, notepad format, .txt file. And images I given you separately. So without all those things, directly I will just put everything into the notes. So I'll just upload you can download from there. This, yeah. Here, guys. I did not post anything newly. I removed the old one and I posted the new one. That's all. Okay. Again, I did not find the notes there. I did not have another link there. Same link. The old one is deleted and the new one is posted there. Okay. So now you don't require this. Yeah, I don't require this anymore now. I given this in the text format and all the images separately. You don't need that anymore. You download that. I'll delete off this link. Okay. Let's see how to define these properties in our code. adding a new class in the project. We'll name the class as customer. Making this class as public. And you know that once you make it public, automatically anyone can work with this class. Now in this class, I'm just defining the attributes of a customer. So like what? Int, customer ID, bool, status, string name, double balance. Okay. So what the status is, it's a customer of a bank, and all of you know that now, if your account is inoperative for a time period in any bank, if an account is inoperative for a time period in any bank, automatically the account status will be inactivated. The account status will be inactivated. Suppose continuously 1 year you did not use the account, your account status gets inactivated, remember. Did you understand me or not? Your account status gets inactivated. So to activate it back again, what you just require to do is you're required to go to the bank again, submit your ID proof, address proof and all, and you're required to get the status activated again. So for that, we'll have a column in the table called status. This particular status column will be having a Boolean value true or false. True or false. Okay. And on the database, guys, we have a concept called as a job. On the database, we have a concept called as job. It's out of the scope. They don't teach you in SQL Server classes. They don't teach you that. That is out of the scope. So job. What is the job? You can create this particular job and write code in that. What is that? You can verify if the last transaction date is going to be more than 1 year. Inactivate the status. Every day, midnight 12 o'clock, or early morning 6 o'clock, these jobs will run implicitly. We don't require to call them. They will run automatically every day. We'll schedule them. We will be scheduling to run the jobs. So the jobs will be automatically running for you midnight at 12 o'clock or early morning. You can set our time. We can set our time. So based on the time we set up, means we can specify the details. Like we want to run it daily, or we want to run it weekly, or we want to run it for every 6 hours. We can set all the scheduling. So once you set the scheduling, the jobs will run now, and we'll be checking each and every account. If the transaction date is going to be exceeding 1 year, if the transaction date exceeds 1 year, automatically the account status will be changed off to false. By default, the status will be true, and if the account is inoperative, they'll change up the status to false. And we don't require to write any code separately for that. The jobs will be running and the jobs will be doing the job for you. Is that clear? So that's what the status is. So by default, it will contain true. True in the sense active account. If the account has to be inactivated, this status will be changing up to false. So once it changes to false, means what the meaning? The account went off to inactivation state now. Okay. Next. Name, balance, I don't require to tell you. And now I'm defining a constructor, public customer. Remember, in the ATM system case study, I said we pass a customer ID to this. And once you pass a customer ID, what happens? Behind the screen, it will connect it to the database and loads all the details from the database. I explained this in the ATM system case study to you already. So these 3 values will come from where? From the database. As of now, we don't have a database. For the time being, guys, I'm giving some static values here. But remember, in the future, all the values will come from a database table. Name is equals to, this dot name is equals to John. And this dot balance is equals to some 5,000. Yes, guys. Okay. So now when you create the instance, automatically constructor is called and all the 4 fields are initialized. Now the class is public. Because the class is public, I can create the instance of this class wherever I want. I can create the instance of this class wherever I want. I'm adding another class called test customer. And now in test customer, I can create the instance of the class customer. You can see static void main. Customer obj is equals to new customer. And for this, I need to pass what? The customer ID. Once I'm going to pass the customer ID, automatically what will happen? Constructor is called, customer ID is initialized. Afterwards, it will be connecting to database and load the data of the customer 105. Okay. Suppose these are the details loaded for the appropriate customer. These are all the details loaded for the appropriate customer. And all this happens when I create the instance here. Okay. When we create an instance, behind the screen, everything will happen. But see guys, even though all the fields are initialized, how many fields are there? 4 fields. All the 4 fields are initialized here. Still, we cannot access those field values here. Still, we cannot access the field values here. Why? Because all are private in scope. By default, every member is a private member, so they are not accessible to you here. Obj dot. You can see you're not getting the members list now. These 4 methods every time you get. No need to talk about the 4 methods. Ignore them. Don't discuss about the 4 methods at all. So nothing is coming in the list. Why? Because all the members are private. This is what I explained to you yesterday now. So this is where I started the discussion. I taken a circle class radius. Okay, then I just said you, I want to expose the values outside the class. If you want to expose the class outside the class, I said you there are a variety of options. The first option is declare them as public. Once you declare them as public, do I get access out of the class now? Come here. Make this as public. Once you make this as public and come here, automatically you can access the customer ID here. So I said here, blue color. The blue color box icon is a field. So it's showing you, see, that's a field. The field is accessible. But what is the drawback? I said, the drawback is once you make it public, you don't have any control on that value. Like anyone can get the value and anyone can set the value and they can set with any value they want. There is no restriction at all. Whatever they want, they can set now. See now, I'm just going to get the value now. I'm going to get the value. Value. Not only getting guys, you can even set the value. Excuse me. I'm assigning 115. See, modify. But how can you modify the customer ID? Our customer ID is non-modifiable. But you cannot control that. Why you cannot control? Because the field is declared public, and once declared public, anyone can get and anyone can set the value. There is no control on the value at all. No one can control this. Anyone can get the value, anyone can set the value. So this is the drawback what you have here. This is the drawback what you have in this particular case. So now question now is, how can I control this? How can I control this? How this can be controlled now? If you want to control it, the first important rule is never declare a field as public. If I don't declare a field public, now no one can get the value, no one can set the value. What type of access you are planning to give? Out of the class, what type of access you want to give? Read only, write only, read write. Read only. We want only to get the value. Set should not work. Set should not work. What we want to give? A permission to read only. So set should not be working for us now. So what to do now? Define a property in place of a public field. Okay. So once you want to define a property, what is the first rule? Declare the field with underscore. So I'm removing this keyword now. Why? There is no naming conflict. This keyword will come into picture only when there is a naming conflict. There is no naming conflict. This is underscore customer ID and this is customer ID. So the names are not same. Okay. Now come here and write a property. Public int cust ID. Get, and what did I say? Return underscore customer ID. So this is a simple code. This is a simple code. Now come back here and all of you observe obj dot. Now it is showing you property, not a field now. See, stand icon telling you get. Means this is a read only property. If you try to assign a value, see now error coming now. See, assigning value is an error. When you put your mouse here, it will tell you property or this indexer is our next topic, guys. We'll learn about it. Okay, ignore that or indexer now. Ignore or indexer. Read a property. Customer ID cannot be assigned to. It is. You can see the property, the read only property. You can't assign a value to it now. Okay. So assigning value to the customer ID will not be possible. You can't do this. Okay. Guys, do you have a voice audio issue? Is anyone facing an audio issue? What happened? What is happening? Disconnect and connect once. Who is facing the check now? Is it fine now? Is it fine now? Hello? Okay. Yeah. Watch now. You can just observe here. If you see now, obj.customer ID is equals to, it's not allowing me to assign a value now. Why? Because the property is read only, you can't assign a value. See? Assignment fails because property is read on. So now you see, guys, I'm giving only read only access to my customer ID. Okay. So is the first property what I defined. Let's say read only property. This is a read only property. Next. Now come to status. The status also I want to expose. I want to expose all these values here. I want to expose the status. I want to expose the name. I want to expose the balance. Everything I want to expose. So you can observe now, I wanted to define properties for all these things. I want to define properties for all the things. Depending upon the characteristics, I will write the properties. Okay, have a look. Status. I want to give a read-write property for this. I want a read-write property for status. Observe. What I'm defining is a read-write property. A read-write property. Public. Status is which type? Get return underscore status. Underscore status. Set underscore status is equals to value. See guys, yesterday I said you this value is it's a parameter and you don't require to declare. Put your mouse there. What is it telling you? Parameter. Which type? Why Boolean type? Because your property is Boolean. This is also Boolean. If your property is string, this also string. If your property is a double, this also double. So what is the type here? This also will be the same type now. So that is the advantage what you have the property and will be of the same thing. So this is how I'm defining. Now come here. Coming here guys, what's my requirement now is true indicates what? Active, and false indicates inactive. So I'm writing my code. What if obj dot status is equals to true? If this value is true, console dot write line customer status active, else inactive. Are you clear? Now run the code and see what it prints. Customer status is inactive now. Okay, why? Already I've shown you the value is false there. The value is false, and because the value is false, it is showing you the customer status as inactive. Yeah, right now it is an inactive status what we have. And all of you guys carefully observe this. What are we checking here? If obj.status is equals to true, execute this logic. Means, when will if condition execute the logic? When will if condition execute the logic, and when will it go to else? When will if execute, when will it go to else? Condition true. Why you are telling true or false? When will if execute, I said you know, why is it for false? It won't execute. Nah. If executes when the condition is true, that is the answer, not true or false. If executes when the condition is true, otherwise goes to false. Means if it going to else part means what is meaning? False. Condition false. Means if it is true, it will execute. Am I correct? If that is the case, if you write like this also enough guys. Like that also it is enough. What? Status is Boolean only now. What it can contain? False value. What is the current value now? What is the current value now? What did I initialize? Louder. False. Now you see, if obj.status, what is status? False now. We say if false comes to else part. If true, execute this code. Well, what I'm trying to tell is, you need not compare a Boolean value with a Boolean true again. They are not required here. If it is a false, compare. True, no need. If true is equals to true, is true only. If true equals to true is true, then you can directly write if true enough. So even though you should directly say obj.status, then also this code will execute. See, you'll get the same output. You said the voice is fine now. Again facing the problem, guys. Hello. Hello. Yeah. Guys, is the voice clear now? So you can just observe it now. You can just observe. If you look at this code, if you look at this particular code now, yeah, what is the current status? The current status is inactive. See, if I write if obj.status, what is the meaning? If true, execute the code, but not true. It is not true now. What is value false? So comes to else part and shows you as inactive. It is coming to the else part and showing you as inactive right now. Okay. So this is how you can just go for defining a read-write property. So the property is a read-write property now. And you guys observe status is a Boolean value. Status is right now a Boolean value. It's a Boolean value. And here, you observe here, when I put my value here, that's a Boolean. That's already shown you. Next, I want to define a property on name also. I want to define a property on name also. Okay. What type of property are you planning? Read-write property, guys. So, read-write property. Public string name. Get written underscore name and set underscore name equals to value. So this is also a read-write property. Now come to test customer and observe all of you. Console.writeLine customer name obj.name. So this prints you the name of the customer now. John. I want to modify this. You can modify a read-write property now. So I can modify now. obj.name plus is equals to Smith. You can see. Name is modified. So I'm able to modify read-write property. Both get is working, set is working. Both are working. Clear? Same as that, I want to define a read-write property representing my balance. Public double balance. Get written underscore balance set underscore balance is equals to value. So here, in this case, value is in string. Value is string. In this case, value is double. That automatically changes. Whatever is the property, value also will be the same type only. Okay. And you can observe console.writeLine. What's it? Customer balance. What is the balance of the customer? obj.balance. And obj.balance minus equals to 1000 rupees. And you can see now this is modified balance. Working. Are you clear? But there is a mistake now. What is the mistake? The mistake is, what is the status of the customer? The bank, if the account is not operative for a period of time, they will inactivate the account. If an account is inoperative for a period of time, they'll inactivate the account for security reasons. Why? Why the customer is not using the account? The big doubt for the bank is the person alive or not? The big question is the person alive or not? Tomorrow that account should not be misused anywhere. Tomorrow that accounts should not be misused anywhere. Misusing that accounts should not be happening. So to avoid this account misusing, listen, to avoid this account misusing, so what will they do? They will be inactivating the account. To you. And after inactivating these accounts, clearly after inactivating this particular accounts, the next thing what they will do is, sorry, okay, the accounts are inactivated, and once the accounts are inactivated, automatically what is going to happen? You cannot do any transactions on that. So compulsory, the customer should come back, show his identity and activate the account. Transactions are not allowed. But see now, I'm able to do all the transaction. Array, name is modified, balance is modified, all are working now. So the need of inactivation is to make the customer come to the bank again. The need of inactivation is to make the customer come to the bank again. See, when the customer account is inactive and the customer was able to do all the transactions as it is, will he visit the bank? I'm talking with you only. Understand English? I asked the question, answer me. So if the status is inactive, but you're able to do all the transactions, you're able to withdraw money, you're able to, whatever you want, you're able to do. Will the customer come to bank now? No, he will not come to the bank. Why? Why will you come here? When I was able to do all the transactions, why will you come to bank now? I inactivated your account to make you come to bank and prove your identity. But when you are able to do all the transaction, customer will never visit the bank now. So that's the mistake. So when the status is inactive, these actions are completely irrelevant. It should not be allowed to do the transactions at all. If it tries to modify the name, then name modification should not work. If it tries to modify the balance, first thing is the balance should show zero. First thing is the balance should show zero. Okay, the balance should not be displayed for you as when a customer is asking for the balance. Suppose you have 1 lakh in your account now, and when you are trying to visit when you try to go to an ATM machine now, your status is inactive and your balance is zero. Will you go to the bank? Yes or not? Immediately you will run to the bank. Immediately you will be running to the bank. So that is important. But if I show all these values as it is, if I give you a chance to do whatever transactions you want, customer will never come to the bank again. So I want him to come to bank and prove his identity. This is my requirement. So to do this, guys, watch it. Let me come to the set of here. Let me come to here and just see what I'm writing now. In the setter, I'm writing a condition. What is the condition? If underscore status means if true, if status is true, then only name can be modified. Then only name can be modified. Watch. Name is not modified. See. Failed. Understood? Same like this. In every setter, this condition is mandatory from now onwards. If you are adding new properties here, in every setter, this condition is mandatory. What is that? If underscore status. See now. This won't allow you. Transactions can't see. Another thing here, first point is I want to show the balance is zero now. Ray, what did I say? Balance should be shown as zero. Then the customer will run to the bank. The customer will run to the bank now. So how do you do that? Let me come to get also. And the get I'm writing. What if underscore status return balance else return zero. Understood my point here? If underscore balance underscore status return balance or will return zero, run and see. What is your balance here? Your balance is zero. You can't do any transaction now. The balance is showing you as zero and doesn't allow you any transaction to be performed. Are you clear? And all this happens when the status is inactive. Now watch all these things. Watch everything carefully. Here, update fields. Update fields. Okay. Name when update failed. Name when update failed. Hey, name and update field is John only. Update field, na, your old name only will come. Now, watch here, what I'm doing. obj.status is equals to true. What did I do now? I activated the status. After activating the status, all of you carefully, I'm copying all the statements as it is here and I'll paste here. This is another set. This is another set of statements. Okay, what's the difference? Notice all. Status inactive. Name John. Name and object field John. Status active. Name John. Are now update succeeded, guys. I'll change the message. I've succeeded. What is the name? 5000. Are you clear? So, guys, here update succeeds. Name and update succeeded. Name when update succeeded. When update succeeded, what is the name? Whatever is the name, you can just display that particular name in that place now. Okay, now. Okay, so that's what. So right now, here, balance when status is inactive, and here balance when status is active. Watch, guys. You can see the difference between all the things now. Are you clearer? Understood? Inactive, failed, balance 0. Active, update succeeded, balance is 5000. Okay. Now next, I want to update the balance. I want to update the balance. Okay. So here I am writing obj.balance minus equals to 3000. What is the remaining balance now? 2000. Here, what is that? Modified balance. $2,000. Modified balance is 2000. If I write 4000, 1000. If I write 6000, tell me, if I write 6000, what's it? Invalid, na? How can you withdraw more than your balance? You are not asking you mathematics, you're telling minus 1000. Not my own. First point is you use your common sense list. When I say that this, what your answer should be? Invalid transaction. How can we do that? You can't withdraw more than your balance. Na? But see, it is allowing to do. It is allowing to do. How can you withdraw more than your balance? This invalid operates now. But it is allowing to do this. So again, this should be restricted now. Actually, I have a rule. What is the rule? The rule is every customer should maintain a minimum balance of 500 rupees. Every customer should maintain a minimum balance of 500 rupees. Are you clear? So I need to maintain a minimum balance of 500 rupees here. So you can withdraw by leaving that 500 only. More than that, you cannot withdraw. So right now, 5000 means how much amount you can withdraw? 4500. Are you clear? So that should be restricted again. More than that, it should not be allowed to withdraw. So I'm adding another condition in the set of C, guys. If status is true, I'm not directly allowing to withdraw. If value is greater than or equal to 500, then only this should be applicable. See now, you're saying minus 6000. Minus 6000 means what you're assigning? You're assigning minus 1000 here. Is minus 1000 greater than 500? Huh? So this transaction fails now. Transaction failed. See, it did not work. Come here. I'm writing 4500. Is this valid now? Valid. 500. 500 is the balance. So that is going to be valid. 4600 invalid. Failed. So you watch. What happens here? Transaction fails. Transaction fails. So now balance when transaction failed. When transaction failed, balance will be your old value only, guys. When transaction failed, balance will be your old value only, no changes. Okay. Now I'm writing obj.balance minus equals to 4,500. Transaction fails or succeeds? Transaction succeeds. Transaction succeeds. Now see, balance when transaction succeeded. Are you clear? So balance when transaction succeeded is 500 again. Okay, you can just see like this. I can write my conditions in my code, guys. Say, if it is a public field, you can't write all these conditions now. And you're able to write all these conditions only when this is a property. Because this is a property, you're able to write all these conditions code now. If it is a public field, these conditions cannot be implemented. You can't implement any of these conditions now. Now you see, the first one is a read-write property. Second one, a read-write property with condition in set accessor. Then what about this read-write property with condition in both? Did you understand the difference between the three properties defined for you now? Here, no condition, a simple read-write property. Second one, a read-write property with a condition in set accessor. Okay, your condition in set accessor. Third one, condition in both get and set accessor. Okay, so is what I've defined you three properties. Read-only property, read-write property, read-write property with condition in set, read-write property with condition both get and set also. Okay, call him. Get out of the classroom. Following classroom or cinema theatre. That's why I'm telling you, open the mouth. Don't open the mouth and sleep in the classroom. I'm very particular in this, I'm telling you. If you are going to sleep in the class, don't come to the class. Okay, so that's what. So there are three properties what you have. Read-write property, a read-write property with a condition in set accessor, and a read-write property with condition both get and set accessor. Open the mouth, that's why I'm telling you, open the mouth. Okay, so these are the three things what I just defined for you right now. Check it out. Check it out now. Guys, check out the voice now. Check the voice now. Mic is new mic just now because you said it is not clear. I already changed the mic. A new mic I put it up. Okay. So check it out now. I just reset all the settings again. Just check now. It should be fine. So fine, yeah. So like this, we just gone for defining four properties now. So customer ID, status, name, and balance. Still, guys, we can add new properties here. We can add new properties here. I wanted to define a property called city. I wanted to define a property called as city. City is my new property. What I want to define. Okay, city means string type. So comma underscore city, comma underscore city. Now we'll come here and we'll say underscore city is equals to Bengaluru. Still the same issue. ఏందని తేడా వస్తుంది వాయిస్ మొత్తం అన్ని ఆఫ్ చేసి ఆన్ చేయి. Guys, ఇక్కడ మనకి ఇక్కడే తేడా వస్తుందని. Are you able to hear the voice? Is the voice audible now? Okay. Yeah, let me know if you have any problem. Everyone, is that fine? Okay. So have a look. I'm going to declare a new property, new field called city. So where I want to store the city value in it. I want to store the city value in it. So city is Bengaluru. So fine. And now scroll down. I want to write a read-write property on this. I want to write a read-write property on this. Public string city. Get written underscore city. And what did I say you? Whenever you're writing a setter, don't forget this condition. What condition? Set should never work. Set should never work without the active status. Set should never work without the active status. Status should always be active if set has to work. Okay. So in the setter, I'm writing if the underscore status, I want to. But one more condition is there, guys. What is that, you know? The bank has its branches only in the 6 metro cities. The bank has its branches only in the 6 metro cities. So now the city what you're trying to assign should be from the 6 cities only. Did you catch my point or not? The city what you're trying to assign should be from the 6 cities only. It should be from the 6 cities only. Understood the point or not? So the city value should be from the list of the 6 cities, should not be outside the 6. Okay. So how to do that? You want only that 6 cities now. How can we do that if you want only the 6 cities? If value is equals to only the 6 metro cities here, Delhi, or value is equals to Kolkata, or value is equals to Mumbai, or value is equals to Chennai, or value is equals to Bengaluru, or value is equals to Hyderabad. So you can see if the value is only from this particular 6 list, if the value is only from the 6 list, then only underscore city is equals to value. Are you clear? If it is only from the 6, underscore city is equals to value. So if you try to assign anything outside of it, it doesn't accept. Fine. Now come here and watch. Console dot right line customer city obj dot the current city I initialized with Bengaluru. Initialized in the sense from the database loaded Bengaluru. I want to modify this to Hyderabad. So obj dot city is equals to what? Hyderabad. And now modified city. Working. Modified to Hyderabad. Okay. See guys, now if I assign Pune, is it accepted? No, because Pune is not there. Condition failed now. Transaction failed. Assignment failed now. So still it is showing you the value. I'm writing Chennai. Valid or invalid? Valid. Array did not work. See, Hyderabad worked. Chennai did not work. Chennai is in our list, but it's not working. Why? Why Chennai is not working? Chennai is in our list, but still it is not working. Case sensitive, yeah. So you should be, that only you should be very
Keen observation should be there first. You need to concentrate. Why it not working? You need to observe that only. I written in the lower case. Condition checks are case sensitive. Condition checks are case sensitive. There you have Chennai in Pascal case, and here you have Chennai in lower case. Chennai is present in lower case now. That's why it is not accepting. That is the reason why it is not accepting here. But for the end user guys, Chennai means Chennai, uppercase or lower case or Pascal case, it doesn't matter all these things. Yes, and Chennai, and what he feels are not accepting now. You should enter in Pascal case. All these are nonsense to customer. Am I right or not? Okay, all these are completely nonsense to the customer. What the customer feels is enter correctly or not, that's all. I hope you guys are clear. Yes or not? Okay, so that's what very important here. Now, if you notice this, guys, if you notice this, not accepting. And another not accepting, and at the same time not giving error also. It's not accepting, at the same time it's not giving error also. Suppose here, if I write Nagpur, you see, not accepting and no error coming. Now, if it is not accepting and not giving any error, generally, end user who is working with this application will have a doubt now. What is the doubt? Is the developer a fool? The end user gets a doubt, the developer is a big fool now. Why? What is the problem? The problem is, I assigned a value, you're not accepting. I assigned a value, you're not accepting. If you're not accepting, you should either throw me an error. Yes or not? You need to tell now this error. You're not throwing an error and you're not accepting the value. Then how can the user understand here if the error message is not shown? How can you understand the problem now? Show me some error, or otherwise accept what? Simple here. You go to a restaurant for having a breakfast or for having food, you went to a restaurant. You given a menu. The menu contains some 150 items in it. So you open the menu card now and you started giving some order. Till now, you asked for 15 different items. 15 different items. And whatever you asked till now, the waiter was telling, not available. You asked 15 items and the 15 are not available now. How do you feel? You enjoy it. Still looking into the menu, ordering it, say not. What do you say? You say first what is available with you. First you say what is available with you. Or otherwise get me whatever I say. Understood? Either you say me what is available or otherwise. Second thing, tell me or get me whatever I order. Any of these things. But you say, but still the person says, look into the menu, look into the menu. You get irritated, throw the menu on his face and come out of the restaurant. Yes or not? Okay, a fool, you either tell me what is available with you or otherwise get me what I order. You ask me to look into the menu and when I say not available, wasting my time. Exactly. Your application is also designed like that only. You don't tell what you accept. You don't accept whatever I give. How do I know the bank has branches only in the 6 cities? I don't know that. I tried with 30-40 cities till now, apart from the 6. Apart from the 6, I tried 30-40 cities. All the 30-40 are not getting accepted now. So it will be irritating for the user. Okay. So how to resolve it? See, just like how you ask in the restaurant, what you ask, tell me what you have. Here also same only. What is it? Tell to user what you are going to accept. Tell to the user what you are going to accept. If you tell to the user what you are going to accept, user will pick from that only. When you don't tell, how do the user know? Did you catch my point or not? So that is what exactly should happen here. So when you are assigning a value to the city, it should show me the list. It should show me the list telling you this is what I accepted. Select from this, like this. What this say? The console has a property called as background color, guys. This is going to set the background color of your output. It is going to set the background color of your output. Is equals to, you can assign a color, but so many colors are there in the universe here. So many colors are there, millions of colors are there in the universe. all the colors are not supported here now. So for that reason, what did they do, you know? When you're trying to assign a value to the background color, when you say is equals to, guys, look at when you say is equals to, the IntelliSense will highlight one item per year. What is that? Console color. Select that and say dot. It will show you the list telling you these are the supported colors. You can pick only from this list of colors. See now how beautiful it is. Now you're giving a color. It doesn't accepting. All these confusions are not there. Telling you, right, these colors are only supported. Pick from this. I want to set pink color. Pink is not there. You give pink, not accepting. It's not going to be right now. So that's why it is telling you these are the colors. Choose any one color from this list now. And I will just make that as your background color. I'm selecting blue color. Default is black color here. I'm setting blue color. See now. Understood? I want my city property also to be in the same way. When I'm trying to assign a value to background color, just like it listed me all the colors to me, when I'm assigning a value to the city, it has to list me all the values to me. So how can I do that, sir? Watch. How can we do that? First understand. Here, console is your class. Background color is a property. Then what is this console color? This console color is a enum. The console color is a enum. Watch guys. What is it? What is the enum? Enum is our fourth type. Till now we talked on three types: class, interface, structure. Enum. This is also a type. This is also a type, or this is also a user defined type. Okay, this is also a type. In the brackets, you say user defined. Okay. And this type is a collection of, this type is a collection of named constant values. What is it? It is a collection of named constant values. It's going to be a collection of constant values. So right now you see, you saw the list of colors now, blue, black, green, all are the constants in that now. All are the constants in that. So this is a constant. When you put your mouth on that, it will tell you. It is a color. It's a color. So what is this? Specifies constants that define foreground and background color for the console. It's going to specify constants actually. So how do you define this? How do we define this? Guys, this is the syntax. Modifiers, enum, name of the enum, a list of named constant values. All types are same syntax, guys. Only thing is the keyword changes here, class or interface or structure. Now it is enum. Right now, we have saw one predefined enum called console color now. Right now we saw one predefined enum called console color. How is it defined? It is defined like this. All of you watch it. Public enum. What is the name? Console color. And in this, all the colors are listed: black, blue, cyan. These are all the things are listed for you. Now tell me guys, same like this, can I do this now? Understood all of you? That is a enum now with 6 values in it. With 6 values in it. Okay. Now remember, this is predefined and this is user defined. This is user defined. Say, do you remember in the initial classes I explained to you about this? Types cannot be directly consumed. To consume a type, you're required to create a copy of it. You define a class, you can't directly use a class. You're required to create a copy of it. Int is a predefined type. We can't directly use it. Required to create a copy of it. Suppose you want to use a int. See, int. That's how we use. If you want to use a string, how do we use? String is how do we use. Same way, cities is a new type now. What is cities? It's a new type. How to use? Int comes under structure category. String comes under class category. Cities comes under enum category. Different categorizations now. Okay, but all are types. These are predefined types. You're the defined type. Array, here also we have a predefined type na console color. Same way we have our own. You're the defined type. What is the name? Cities is the name of it. Are you clear? Now see, for this int, you can assign a value. What value we can assign? You can assign a value within a 4-byte memory range. Minus 2 power 31 to 2 power 31 minus 1. Within that range, you can assign any value. I'm assigning 101. Come to string. String is variable length type here, but string also has restrictions. The maximum size you can assign for a string is 2 million characters. The maximum size you can assign for a string is 2 million characters. Okay, limitations are there for here also. So you can assign a string value within 2 million characters. Above that, it won't accept it. I'm assigning a name like Raju. Now come to city. Now when you come to city, what can you assign to city? Coming to city, you cannot assign whatever you want. You can assign only values within this list. Are you clear? We can assign values only within this list. Now I want to assign the value as Bengaluru. If that is the case, you can give 0. What is 0? The index position of Bengaluru. So the index starts from 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. I want to give my own index means you can also do is equals to 1. If I say is equals to 1, now this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That follows, that sequence follows. No, if you say I want to set my own index for every value, that also possible. 10. I'm giving Chennai as 20. Now if I don't give Delhi any value, 21 will come automatically. No, you want Delhi as 30? I can assign Delhi is equals to 30. Hyderabad is equals to 40. Kolkata is equals to 50. Mumbai is equals to 60. I can assign it like this. Are you clear? If you don't give means where it starts from? 0. It starts from 0 and that continues to 5. 0, 1, 2, 3 like this. Watch it. It's predefined now. Right click on this and say go to definition. Watch all of you. There are 16 values in the list, starting from 0 to 15. 16, starting from 0 to 15. Okay. So like this, we have yellow, the last color is white. So this is 0 and this is 15. Totally 16 colors are there. Here, 0, 5. Okay, now you can assign 0. Guys, one thing, you can assign values in different ways. Second way of you can assign a value, no? City is city is equals to cities dot, like this also we can assign, guys. Cities dot, I want to assign Hyderabad. I want to assign Hyderabad. Like this also can assign. Understood? Okay. So there are different varieties how you can assign. 2. Third, watch. Cities city is equals to. Guys, I want to assign Delhi. I want to assign Delhi in the first way. I want to assign Delhi in the first way. How to assign? Guys, if you want to assign Delhi, what is the index position? 2. Am I correct? But guys, cities underscore city is equals to 2 is invalid. You can't do this. Why, sir? Correct only na? Index position is 2 only na? But still, guys, index assignment is possible only with the first value. Index assignment is possible only with the first value. For remaining values, either you need to assign like this. Guys, watch. Either you need to assign like this or like this. Suppose Hyderabad, I want to assign Hyderabad only, but here what I'm saying, 3, it is invalid. How to write, you know? That's how you should write. For first value only index assignment is allowed. For next values, you are required to follow any of these two processes. Okay, now? Fine. Now, tell me. This is customer ID. I'm writing underscore customer ID. Can I write a property on it? This is name. I'm writing underscore name. Can I write a property on it? All these 3 things I can write properties now. Come on, let's write a property on customer ID. How do you write? Come on, fast. Public int customer ID. Fast, I'm telling you. Open the mouse here. Open the mouse. Faster. What? Get return underscore customer ID underscore customer ID. Next, set underscore customer ID is equals to value. Same for string name, for name. Public string name, public string name. Return underscore name. Set underscore name is equals to value. Now for city. Public cities. Guys, understand the data type is our user defined type now. City. Get return underscore city. Set underscore city is equals to, and remember here value is which type? Int type. Here value is which type? String type. Here value is which type? Cities type. The value is cities type. Now it is a cities type. Here value is string type and here value is integer type. You can define a property like this now. Okay, guys, generally till now all the properties you defined. Just a minute. This city, just let me come back. This city property, what I defined here is not behaving correctly. I'm deleting first. I am deleting all the things associated with city. I'm deleting. Till now, if you're defining properties, you define properties of int type, bold type, string type, double type. All these are predefined types. But now you want to define a property of which type? Cities type. But cities is not predefined. So first you're required to define it. Step 1, you're required to define the cities now. Step 1 is you're required to define the cities. How to define? Open the add new item window. Unfortunately, remember, we don't have a structure item template here. Class and interface only. Structure not there. So what we done? Enum item is also not there. Same again. Code file. You need to take a code file and give a name for it. What name? Cities.cs. Namespace. What's the namespace? Oops project. Now inside of the namespace, what do you do now? Add this. See now, in your project, you have a new type called cities. Now come to customer class. Now tell me, can I say cities underscore city? See, these are all predefined types. And this one, user defined type. I went for a user defined type now. Okay, next. Underscore city is equals to false. Sorry, 0. 0 indicates what? First value. What is the first value? Bangalore is the first value. Come below, write the property. What? Public cities, city, get return underscore city, set. If underscore status underscore city is equals to. Now writing the code is also simple now. No need to write if Bengaluru, if Chennai, all that nonsense not there. Straight away assigned of the value. Now come to test customer. Now come to test customer. Watch. Just a minute. First obj.city. Obj.city is Bengaluru. Watch. Obj.city is Bengaluru. So that's working fine. Come below, and now I want to assign a value. Obj.city is equals to, obj.city is equals to cities dot, see guys, got your list now? Any confusion? Now no case sensitive problem also, because we are going to pick a value from this, Hyderabad. And now modified city. Working perfect. Now, can I assign a value like Pune? I'm assigning a value Pune. Is it valid? What is the error? What is the error? Come on, guys. What will be the error? Louder. Wrong answer. City properties, which type? Cities type. Array, then how you're assigning a string value, yeah? That only I'm telling you. Use your common sense, yeah. City properties, which type? Cities type. Pune is which type? String type. That is the error. Why are you telling not in the list? The value is not matching with the type at all first. You're telling value not in the list. Why you're bothered about value not in the list? The type mismatch here now. City is a cities type and Pune is string. A string cannot be converted to cities. That is the error. Okay. So that will be the error what you'll be getting here. So what you can assign is only a value of type cities. You can't assign a value of type string. Are you clear? So this is the fifth property I defined. This is also a read-write property and we call this as a enumerated property. Enumerated property means a property with a list of values to choose from. Understood? Enumerated property means a property with a list of values to choose from. You can pick one value from the list what you want. Okay? Let's stop here. We'll meet tomorrow.
Recording stopped.